We'll be checking back with you about
suspense. Tropospheric undulations every night on Weather Center PM.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Storms continue to pester the Middle Atlantic states this hour, but for the most part, the threat of severe weather is easing. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Madden. Welcome to this edition of Weather Center.
And I'm KRISTINA Abernathy. You also have rain spreading across the Northeast, which raises questions about the Boston Marathon. We'll have a live report, but first, the storms and soaking rains to the south. And the water is running high and fast in some parts of eastern Tennessee tonight, where too much rain is causing problems. This is the Little Pigeon River in Sevier County, east of Knoxville. Rising water forced the evacuation of a nearby retirement home. So you've got the wet weather in Tennessee that seems to have moved to the east for the most part and now affecting parts of Virginia and into the Carolinas with soggy conditions for you. And that continues now around Columbia and up to Charlotte and Greensboro, around Raleigh earlier. Some big-time storms here in Wake County. Reports of damage to a school and numerous reports of trees down over the roadways causing the closure of some roads. So definitely some rough weather has been around this evening, and we're seeing these storms pushing off to the east, but more wet weather back to the west. Again, around Charlotte, still getting some soggy weather, and on up towards Greensboro and even into Roanoke. You had some rough weather in eastern Virginia as well, but we're seeing the warnings that were in effect there, tornado warnings, have been allowed to expire, but still dealing with rain and storms in the area here. Richmond, some soggy conditions for you up towards Charlottesville and also towards Washington, D.C., and then again back towards Roanoke, sort of the western extent of this area of wet weather. The big picture across the eastern U.S., of course, we've got the rain here and the storms, but we've also had some wet weather in Florida and up towards Washington, D.C. It's been sort of a soggy day for you in the nation's capital. Wet weather has been around, causing you to have not such a nice day here, with wet weather moving in this afternoon. Here on the Mall, a few people were using umbrellas. Heavier rain is expected this evening, but the worst should be over just in time to begin the work week. So as we take a look at the radar, we can see some of the wet weather that is around here. And in Baltimore, D.C., this includes you. And as you can see, we've got a rather widespread area of rain, so don't look for it to end anytime soon. Although, again, as we head into tomorrow, things should be improving for you. But for much of this evening, it is going to be soggy as this sort of moves off to the north and to the east. It's going to be a slippery, sort of murky, messy night for you here. Well, as we head on a little bit farther to the south, you too have been dealing with a bit of wet weather around Ocala. Look out Brooksville, and maybe even Tampa could be dealing with some of the rain and some of the storms, while right now most of that out over the Gulf waters. We can't rule out the possibility that as we head through tonight, you could be dealing with some wet weather, maybe some storms mixed in too. Warren?
We're heading into the northeast right now, Christina. Double-barreled low. One sitting here right over the Chesapeake. The second one not too far, say, from Youngstown, Ohio. And around it, we are seeing quite a lot of rain. It hasn't moved too far into eastern New England yet, but that will be changing as we go through the overnight. Where the rain has fallen, in some cases we're seeing temperatures down a little bit and never got the sun to warm things up too much. 42 in Elmira right now, 46 in Albany, 49 in Philadelphia. Boston hanging on to 52 degrees, though. Boston, get ready. The wet weather is heading in your general direction. You can see the sliding of the clouds from southwest into the northeast, and the rain is under those clouds and it is heading your way. You can see all of the rain moving up across Pennsylvania, the darker greens showing some heavier rain. Harrisburg has been reporting moderate rain over the last couple of hours. Williamsport, and then look at the yellow here as we come up in north of Albany. In fact, let's bring things in a little bit into the Empire State, and we can take a look, and you can see lots of darker green and still some yellow here around Glens Falls, reaching down in toward Albany and around Schenectady. So watch out, perhaps some heavier rain in the mid-Hudson River Valley. And that is starting to move now into western New England. The last report started seeing some rain around Springfield and Chicopee, Bradley Field, Windsor Locks seeing some rain, and we will be seeing this move in toward the Boston area during the overnight hours. And of course that is a concern because come noontime tomorrow, several thousand at least runners will be leaving the starting line of the 102nd running of the Boston Marathon. With an update on what's going on in terms of preparations and what the forecast looks like, here's Christina.
Well, Monday's forecast is getting extra attention in Boston tonight, where long-distance runners are ready for the Boston Marathon. The Weather Channel's Jill Brown is in Boston now and has a live report. Jill?
Christina, it's a pretty nice night here. We're basically at ground zero for the Boston Marathon at Copley Square, just about 100 yards from where the finish line will be for tomorrow. Ed Jacobs, who's the technical producer for the race, has helped us out a lot, and his big concern tonight was, will there be rain and gusty winds and thunderstorms? They have a lot of tents set up, and we certainly wouldn't want to see those come down on the pasta dinner or the medical tent. And so far so good, that's not likely to be a problem, although heavy rain is a real concern, and we think that will come in tonight. Let's talk about that forecast. It looks like race time tomorrow about 51 degrees. We should have a lot of clouds around, perhaps a little sun later on, and windy conditions, which can be good or bad. We'll talk about that in just a moment. They've seen all kinds of different types of weather in Boston this time of year and for the marathon. We've had some wild swings from the coldest race ever, which was 1925, 32 degrees at the start of the race and a steady north wind blowing at 20 miles per hour. The wettest race ever was April